Good morning, everybody. It is probably not even 7 a.m. here. It seems a bit dark. I'm actually promised you guys that I would tell you a little bit about me, my lifestyle, and I haven't quite done that because I've been so busy educating everybody about how you could use AI for your NDIS organization. And I tell you guys a little bit about, educate you on what steps to take next. Today's a little bit different, it's a little bit more personal, and it'll get a little bit more personal as the days go by, as the weeks go by, because as promised, I will tell you guys a little bit about me, a little bit about my lifestyle, and today's a little bit more relaxed before I educate you guys. So a bit about my week. It's been a bit crazy because we've come in from a flight from Queensland. So I'm actually based in Queensland. I'm not going to tell you where, but I'm actually in Melbourne at the moment visiting some family. And it's been beautiful, but bloody cold outside. I don't know how you Victorians do it. I don't think I could ever live in Melbourne. I'm wearing a short sleeve only because the heater is on up above me. If not for that, then I probably couldn't cope with the cold. I have to wear a coat every time I go outside, and even just to go out for an hour walk in the mornings is a bit hard. But a little bit about us, our team, we usually travel together. Me and the co-founders are quite close. We travel together off to the Philippines, where one of the co-founders of Spacia Shift actually live, or Spacia.ai. So a bit about our company, which I've never even shared with you guys. Spacia.ai has been functioning for about 3 years for the company. And Spacia Shift is the product that I helped co-create. And that's because I'm a nurse, an ex-NDIS provider, and I've gone ahead and done operations and systems integrations with Spacia Shift to connect it into other NDIS provider businesses. So that's a bit about us. One of the co-founders, as I said, Lawrence, who you probably won't see on camera until I get to Manila. I'll show you a bit more of a lifestyle one when we arrive there in the Philippines, and I'll show you what we get up to on a day-to-day basis. So you guys actually see what we get up to, that we are actually human and we're not here just to educate or try and show you what we have. So that's a bit about me. And something that's interesting about us is that we train every day. We hit the gym every day, and that for us is very important. And we educate a lot of business owners to be able to keep mental clarity. You've got to have physical strength. You've got to have your mind be connected to become a high performer, really. And you'll notice that a lot of the high performers all train in the morning. They get up 5 a.m., 6 a.m., just like us. We're just like them. We're human. We've got to take care of our minds and bodies as well as getting into the work. But let's get started. So after every single shift, every support worker on the team is supposed to file a shift note. And if they're actually doing it properly, like really doing it properly, that takes them somewhere between 10 to about 15 minutes per shift note, right? Not because they're slow, but because that's genuinely how long it takes to sit down, construct what the hell happened on the shift, write it all up in compliant language, may I add, and check that every required section is covered, and then they have to submit it to management or whatever filing system you guys have. Now take that number and multiply it by a team of 10 workers. 2 shifts per day, that's over 3 hours of documentation time every single day. So before anyone has even touched a participant, before any care coordination happens, before you've answered a single email, you got to look into what kind of notes everybody has written the day before. This is what it looks like when shift notes take a long time, 15 minutes, maybe even more, half an hour. And that compounds every single day, and in your entire operation is affected. So by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why shift notes take as long as they do, exactly what changes when AI steps in, and the step-by-step workflow you can have to your team. So section 1, why shift notes actually take so damn long. Now, here's the thing that most providers don't even realize because they're just too busy. The time isn't in the typing. Your workers aren't slow. They're not lazy. Some are lazy. You can share that with me in the comment section below. The reason shift notes take 15 to half an hour is cognitive load. It's a blank page, and they got to figure out after finishing a shift, they sit down, They open the form. A lot of you are still doing things manually, and now they have to do 5 things simultaneously. Struck what happened in enough detail to be a useful note. They got to translate that into objective, make it factual language, make sure the tone is right, no inflammatory language, no subjective interpretation, and they've got to check that every required section is actually covered. And they got to do that from memory, often an hour or two after the shift has ended, right? That's not a documentation task. That's a full-blown writing task, and writing is hard. So that's why it takes 15, half an hour to complete one shift note. That's what it actually costs the operation. It's not just the time on the clock, it's the cognitive drain at the end of a shift. So workers who are already exhausted, they're transitioning to the next thing, might be the next shift. They're sitting down to do something that requires real mental effort. And that's when the notes sometimes get rushed. I've seen it time and time again. Sections get missed. And what if you get an audit query? You can't chase these things down. What actually happened 3 weeks ago based on 3 sentences? It doesn't tell you enough about what happened on the shift. So the problem is structural. The cognitive reconstruction, the compliance language, that costs the company, not the worker's effort. The worker actually puts so much effort. So section 2, what AI can actually do here and help with in this section. So here's what changes when you bring AI into this workflow. The worker doesn't start with a blank page. They start with a voice note, right? You can either do it by AI voice. Right after the shift, while it's actually fresh, they open the tool and they speak into it for 30 seconds. What happened, how the participant presented, what supports were provided, any observations that were worth flagging, and that's it. You can have that all done in 30 seconds. We could actually build you a voice AI that you can speak the notes into, where it prompts you, hey, what happened on the shift? Did this participant have any complaints? What had happened? Did they take their meds? It can generate the full structured shift note for you in 30 seconds versus half an hour. It records the time, the date, the participant, the support type, and it can be properly formatted in narrative compliant language. And any flags, it just flags it immediately, right? The worker can then read it because it gets put into a transcript, and they can approve it or make small edits, and then they can submit it. That's the workflow. Voice note in, structured compliant note out, and all done in a few seconds. Now, I want to be clear about something, because this is the question that a lot of providers do ask. AI is not inventing clinical observations. It is not fabricating anything that happened. It's just formatting what the worker reported in the right structure in appropriate language. Now, the worker, of course, remains responsible for the accuracy of what they're about to report or what they've just reported. What changes is the time cost of going from raw recall, like what happened, compliant documentation. That step, the translation step, is what AI can actually help with. That's what AI removes. So section 3, let's talk about the 30-second workflow. So let me give you the exact workflow in 4 steps. So step 1, the worker finishes the shift, right? Before they do anything else, before they get in the car, before they even check their phone, they open this tool while it's still fresh in their mind what happened in the shift. Step 2, they speak a 30-second summary, who they saw, participant's name, how the participant was presenting today, what supports were delivered, if they met the goals, anything worth noting, the behavior, health observation, mood change, any conversations with family, in natural language, no formatting required, just exactly what happened. And then the AI, step 3, will generate the complete shift note. It's all structured, all formatted, and in compliant language. All required sections are complete, done in seconds. I know because my team have done this. Now the worker will read it. It'll just prompt them, do you like the way that this has been written? And from start to finish, under a minute of that worker's time, compared to 15 minutes of sitting there from a blank form, blank memory, trying to remember exactly what happened in the shift and trying to note that down in the most appropriate way possible. Now, the note quality is great because AI is a better writer than all of your workers, but because the structure is consistent every single time, right? Every section is covered. Every required element from the shift notes are actually there. No shortcuts because someone was exhausted. There's no missing obs because it just felt too overwhelming for them. So in section 4, we'll talk about compliance and quality. Now, let's talk about the real concern here, because I know what some of you guys are thinking. I've had 100 of these conversations with you. Are AI-generated shift notes actually compliant? Can I take these into an audit? Yes, but with one condition: the worker has to review it and approve it before the submission. So that review step is not optional. Obviously, we want the human to still be doing those humanly things, and they've got to sign off on it. They've got to say that what AI generated accurately reflects what exactly happened and what they're reporting is real and to the best of their knowledge, right? The AI generated format that they like it. In the end, the worker is actually accountable, right? So we still have the human in place. So when that step is in place, the notes are consistently structured, consistently formatted, and consistently compliant. No mistakes. In fact, one of the things that makes AI-assisted shift notes strong in an audit is that they just don't vary. The NDIS doesn't care who formatted the notes. It cares that the notes are accurate, objective, and covers the required elements. So AI-assisted notes reviewed by the worker meet that standard. That's actually what matters. And I know because I used to have this in my NDIS provider company. So what does that mean at scale? Next section. Let me give you guys the numbers plainly, because this is the part that actually changes how you see the decision. So, team of 10 support workers, right? 2 shift notes per worker per day. So that's 15 minutes to half an hour per note, down to 1 minute. That's 14 minutes at least saved per notes. 10 workers, 2 notes, that many minutes saved. That is 280 minutes per day, you guys. Do you see 4.5 hours of manual labor that goes to documentation that is recovered? When was the last time you guys even looked at that? An average support worker rate of $35 an hour, and most of you are paying more than that right now. And some of you don't even pay your support workers to do their shift notes, and that's why they become lazy. They don't want to do it because they don't get paid for it. That's the honest truth. I used to pay my team for it, but I don't know what you guys are doing. Now, across every year, that's hundreds of thousands. Can you imagine? The AI tool cost a fraction of that, like a tiny fraction. Actually, that's before you factor in the adjacent documentation, because once providers have AI-assisted shift notes working, the same workflow extends to incident reports. We've done this for other providers, by the way. Handover notes, the participant progress notes, which is like your shift notes, right? If there's anything clinical that needs to be reported. Shift notes are just the entry point, but they're the right entry point to start off with because they happen every single day for every single worker without exception. And that's where the volume is. That's where the hours are bleeding out right now. You didn't even realize it. And I know that because I've spoken to so many of you. So if you've got workers spending 15 minutes to half an hour on every note, you've got documents piling up, your notes are being filed late, your quality varies across the team. This is a solvable problem, not eventually, but today. So the documentation tools that we built inside Spacia Shift were built specifically for this. And I'm talking the AI voice notes, if that's something you're interested in. So I've helped build something that I wish that I had. So this exact workflow that I walked you through, the voice in, structured, compliant, notes out, and then your worker signs off and then submits it, is something that we've done for others. So if you're curious about how this works, copy the link from the description and paste it into your browser. We're happy to give you a 14-day free trial for our software. You've got to come and check it out because it could change your life. The truth is, how many admin staff have you got on right now? Have you realized how much you're paying for one admin staff? And if you've got somebody in the team who's double checking these shift notes after every shift, like if you have some like a quality control sort of admin in your team, you're paying them $80K a year. $80K a year to double check notes that could be done by AI, that could be in your pocket, or they could be, your beautiful team members could be put into billable hours. I always talk about this. So if you guys want to leave comments in the comments section, tell me what's going on in your business and let's see if we can help you guys get going with AI, because I'm sure you're probably not using it as well as you could be in your NDIS provider business. But anyway, looking forward to seeing you on my next video. Till then, take care.